This guy is Jason Graber, and he's a pastor that does not like the left or anybody to the left of hunting the homeless for sport, basically. This is a guy that's followed a lot by Hemant Mehta, the friendly atheist, on Twitter and Substack, a couple other places, Only Sky. Hemant Mehta, I believe, covers a lot of a group called the NIFB, the New Independent Fundamentalist Baptists. And I think that this guy is a member of that church, a member of that, like that group or whatever, the NIFB. Now, the NIFB is led by Steven Anderson. And if you don't know Steven Anderson, oh boy. I mean, let me just drop one thing for you here so you are aware of the type of people we're dealing with. Oh, God. So this stuff is so unhinged from reality and psychotic. Like, dude, I don't even know. You can't help but just, like, laugh. Like, what do? You can't do anything but just, like, laugh at the absurdity of it. Okay, this is 2015, Steven Anderson's documentary on how he knows the Holocaust was fake.
You say, well, what's the motive to lie about the Holocaust, Pastor Anderson? Well, here's the motive. Because without the Holocaust, there would be no nation of Israel. We can see the motive to lie about it because the whole justification for going in and creating the modern-day nation of Israel, which is completely satanic. And
Dude, I'm telling you, like, that's who we're dealing with here. That should tell you something about what this guy believes before even watching the video. Let me show you what this guy had to say about what he thinks should happen to the LGBT community. When I say he really doesn't like the left, I mean it. Check this guy out. Quick interjection. I won't take long. I just wanted to tell you guys, YouTube's algorithm operates off of a few factors. Watch time, whether or not you subscribe, and whether or not you like something. So if you really want to help my channel, I would appreciate it if you guys watch the video to the end. If you don't watch it to the end, just watch a little bit longer than you would have otherwise. I would appreciate that very much. All right, let's get back to the video.
Any parents that would have their child have a transgender surgery done on them, any parent that would do that, they just need to be shot in the back of the head. Right. They need to be convicted in trial and immediately shot in the back of the head.
So you notice he says there they need to be convicted in trial. He kind of hedges there because saying such a thing so brazenly without suggesting that they should have a fair trial would just be a step too far, seemingly, in his mind. What's wrong with this dude? What is going through this guy's head that he would view the world this way? What's going through his mind that he thinks that this is like the way that the world should operate? For the record, the number of trans children that get surgeries is extremely low. And the number of trans children that get surgeries that are like under the age of 15 is basically zero, statistically zero, I believe. The only people that are getting any kind of surgeries are 15 and up at the absolute earliest. Like, no earlier than 15 years old. Simply no way. Statistically, I think the number is like in the low thousands, like 2,000 people in the past 5 years or something like that, out of 330 million. It is an absurdly low number. And by the way, you can't just go get surgery if you're trans. You have to go through this whole big process of talking to doctors and working with them and discussing this with therapists and living your life as a trans person for a long period of time. I think it's like, a year or 2 years or something before you can even qualify for the surgery. And why would a prepubescent girl even need like a mastectomy in the first place? They don't have breasts to be removed. A lot of the beliefs that these people hold take like 3 seconds to poke holes in them. It's so simple and straightforward to poke holes because their beliefs are based on nonsense. Their beliefs are based on garbage, on false premises, things that are not true. And his outrage has reached a fever pitch. He is ready to go all the way. He's ready for the death penalty for something that really isn't even happening. The fact that he even said such a thing should be disturbing to everybody. Anyway, as a member of the NIFB, this is like a standard position. This isn't surprising at all. This clip went viral. because people aren't really paying close attention. This stuff's been happening for like years and years and years. You know, a few years ago, there was something called the Make America Straight Again Conference, MASA. They held a big, like a convention at a church. The NIFB did. They all got together, I think it was in Florida maybe, and they preached about hating the LGBT community, just like this. It was called the Pumpkin Saga. It was a big saga in the atheist community at the time where all atheist YouTubers basically got together and talked about it all at the same time, all the same subject. And it was big. It actually started all the way back in 2019, June 2019. I think that's when it happened. Because this guy, another member of the NIFB, just like, you know, Steven Anderson and our buddy that we were just listening to, this guy said something very similar.
We know there have always been homos. We know they have always been around. We've read the book of Genesis, okay? Nobody's saying they're never around, but there was a time when society, when our country saw them for what they were, and they put them in their place 6 feet under. And unfortunately, we have forgotten that in our country.
So this isn't new by any stretch of the imagination. It's just the first time that some people are like catching on to this and noticing that this is going on, and it's been going on for like ever. Anyway, let's keep listening to this dude and see what else he has to say. If you're affiliated with the trans community, I guess if you're the parent of a trans person, you should receive the death penalty, basically, right? Is a polite way of saying it.
Convicted in trial and immediately shot in the back of the head, okay? And then we can string them up above a bridge. And so that the public can see the consequences of that kind of wickedness. And so there should be no excuse to not put these people to death. No excuse whatsoever. And go ahead.
Okay, well, it's not really happening. Statistically, the number is nearly zero that this is happening. And it's not children that it's happening to. You could say minors maybe, I guess, people under the age of 18. But that's a pretty big stretch. There are plenty of people that are 15, 16, 17, and even 18 who are making life choices for themselves that they're very sure about. You know that people know that they're gay by the age of like 5 something? I knew that I was straight by the age of like 5. When I got to elementary school, I was interested in the girls, not the boys. You know, that happens pretty early in life for a lot of people. Now, should you receive a surgery 11? Probably not. No, I would say that's probably a bad idea. But interestingly enough, this is exactly how the KKK used to do this back in the day. This same exact thing. This is how the far right has always dragged moderates over to their side. They would go completely off the rails and make some wild accusations and claim that the left was doing this stuff. And that this is going to happen if you didn't vote for them, or if you didn't support them, or if you didn't hate this person or that person, or whatever. You know, the KKK would say, people on the left are going to force your children to marry a black person because that's part of integration. Not just, it's going to start with the schools. You know, they're going to force your child to go to school, but that's just where it starts. Going to school with a black person. They're going to force you to marry one. You're not going to be allowed to marry a white person if you want to. You know, they start with these wild accusations that nobody was talking about. Here's one from modern day. People to the left want people to be able to get abortions the day before the birth happens. Like late term abortion or even post-birth abortions or whatever. What? I mean, you start from these wild, unhinged, unrealistic positions and claim the other side is trying to force you to do this. That's the standard cookie-cutter tactic of the right since time immemorial. And this guy, as a member of the NIFB, as one of Steven Anderson's little, you know, minions or whatever you'd call them, is feeding right into it, is pushing it, is furthering this false narrative and coming up with consequences that he believes fit a crime that simply is not happening, that is basically non-existent.
Whatsoever. And Go ahead and turn to Ephesians chapter number 4. And let me tell you, there are very, very few people out there in the world today that are actually fighting the spiritual fight. I want you to go ahead and find me another...
Oh, he's the only guy you can come to, huh? Nobody can find another guy like him.
...preacher in Spokane.
Spokane, Washington, ooh.
Another preacher in Spokane that preached a message where they said that these child molesters, that these child butchers, that these all the LGBTQ people that desire strange flesh, that they should all be put to death in a public execution by the government. Find me the preacher that says that.
So that's his position, right?
I want to see him.
And that's where he stands. That's what he wants. That's what he's interested in. Does it get any more clear than that? Do we need any more information than that? We know exactly where this guy stands. He started from a false premise that the left wants to force you to marry black people. Force your children to marry black people. That the left wants to have an abortion the day before the pregnancy is over, the day before birth. The left wants to engage in that stuff. The left wants to, give children at the age of 6 trans-affirming surgeries. This is how the right has always pulled over moderates to their side. They say something absolutely unhinged, and now you're left on the back foot trying to defend it. You're left trying to point out that marrying a black person wouldn't be wrong. Like, why do you care? Why is it a big deal that your kid might marry a black person? Or you're forced to disavow it and say, no, I don't believe that marrying a black person would be good. Or I don't believe that, forcing somebody to marry a black person would be good. So you're basically forced to take one of two sides, either the extreme left or the extreme right. That's the goal behind the strategy. And again, the strategy's been in existence since the very beginning, like since the early days. The KKK used this all the time. This is a super common technique, and the dude just fed right into it. Just disgusting. I got a voicemail about it. I want to give this a listen, see what the caller had to say about this. Check this out.
Hey, Owen, this is Jacob. I'm from Spokane, and there's this video going viral of Jason Graber, this hate preacher that's here in my city.
That's the one we just watched, Spokane.
Talking about executing trans parents of trans children, and like doing like public executions. Yeah, I mean, I've read about this stuff online. I hear videos, but it hits a little bit different when it's in your own city, and this guy's talking about this. So I don't know if you saw this, but if you're interested in it, in covering it, I mean, you could. I mean, there's so much of this stuff out there, but yeah, thanks, Owen.
Yeah, I appreciate the phone call. There is a lot of it out there, as a matter of fact. This came from Hemant Mehta. I believe it was shouted out by Brian Tyler Cohen or something like that. And that's kind of it. Then it got lift off. It hit like Newsweek and NBC, I think maybe, and a bunch of others. Again, Hemant Mehta's been covering these guys for like ever. He's been talking about the stuff in these sermons for years. I don't cover them very often because, God, the act of censoring some of the stuff that they say is like, oh my God. And listening to some of it is like terrible. I would rather like laugh at people acting like fools more than anything. I'm just glad that we have people like Hemant Mehta that cover this stuff day in and day out, So anyways, yeah, it's rough. It's rough to know that there are people like this in your city, talking about this stuff. Disturbing. But for what it's worth, if it does make you feel any better, we vastly outnumber them. I mean, people like Jason Graber make up a very small segment of the population. Even people who like want trans people to go away or leave society or whatever, very small segment of the population. They're just obnoxiously loud is all. So you've got maybe 20% of the population is obnoxious and insistent that we eradicate transgenderism from society, as Michael Knowles said. These people are voting. The important part is to remember that. They're voting. People like Jason Graber are voting. We outnumber them. There's no reason they should ever win another election when they have ideas like that, ever. You know what turns the tides in elections? People being motivated to get out there and vote. That's really what it is. It's not like convincing a Republican to start voting Democrat. That's not what changes positions or changes tides or like moves elections. The thing that really changes results in elections is getting people out there to vote. That's why advertising and campaigning is so important, and why fear-mongering on the Republican side works so well. Selling fear to people is a quick and easy way to get them to do whatever you say. I try not to sell fear, but I try to expose what people are doing, and I try to laugh about it. If you can't laugh, then you'll cry. Now, this guy is just straight up nutcase. I'm just saying it's important that we vote. I'm just saying it's important that we don't allow people like this guy to hold public office. And again, if you want more examples of people like this is not uncommon. This is something that you see on a regular basis. This isn't like how they view trans people, you know, just this like rampant problem in society, when in reality, you know, trans people make up such a small portion of the population. In all seriousness, this guy makes up a small portion of the population too, a very small subset of the population. But we can never like give up the right that we have to vote. We can't give up on that. We must use our abilities to vote to prevent people like this, people who support ideas that he endorses. We have to prevent them from getting into positions of authority in the United States. That's just how I feel about it. Let me know what you think in the comments. So get an email from one Slack apologist. Okay, let's give this a read and see what it has to say. I think it's kind of a what would you call it, like an aggressive email. Yep, that's a shame that this guy asked for duck pics. You know, waterfowl pictures of ducks, pictures of eggplants and ducks and things. May justice do what it does. Yeah, that was a reference to a video that I did not long ago on Ali Alexander. He's the Stop This Steal organizer, the guy that organized the January 6th rally originally. And he was found out for soliciting pictures of waterfowl, ducks, for example, from teenage boys, young teenage boys. I'm talking 15, 16, 17, 18 years old. Oops. You know, all this talk about protecting the children, and oh my God, the children. And you've got prominent members of the Trump movement out here doing stuff like that. Anyway, so this guy, this emailer says, yeah, get rid of him, okay? May justice do what it does. Has he actually received any? Did he abuse anyone? I know that really doesn't matter in terms of the law, but can I use whataboutism here? How come you don't talk about the abuse of kids going on with the left? TBH, it's a fair case to say that there is no more left and right, just assholes. I agree that every demographic of people, every group of people deals with predators. Every single group, no matter what it is, Catholic Church, Jehovah's Witnesses, whoever, atheists, everybody, they all deal with predators of some variety, right? How do you deal with that problem when it's presented to you is the real question. Do you report it? Do you turn them in? Do you fight against this? Or do you cover it up the way Jehovah's Witnesses and the Catholic Church did? That's really what this is all about, isn't it? Now, regarding Ali Alexander, this is an example of justice coming to somebody who deserved it. He requested pictures of waterfowl from 15-year-old boys. He needs to face justice for that, legally and socially. Like, remove him from society. Remove him from his position of authority that he was using to gain influence over these boys in the first place. What about Chelsea Clinton? Oh, God, he said, what about? What about Chelsea Clinton and some strange and book for kids? I've heard about it, but I don't know if I really want to investigate that. Maybe you can? It was completely made up. Chelsea Clinton apparently has a book series for children that she wrote, and it's a normal book series. There's no strange thing for kids. It's just fabricated nonsense on the right. And whoever wrote this email, Slack apologist, fell for it. You fell for it, bro. Come back to reality with the rest of us. It was fake. Wouldn't that be way more concerning than one guy asking for pictures of waterfowl? This book goes into many schools. He didn't. The book, Chelsea Clinton's book, doesn't go into many schools. And it doesn't have anything to do with, like, strange anything. What are you talking about? Again, this is like a fabricated problem that doesn't exist anywhere but in their heads. That's it. By the way, it's pretty obvious that Chelsea Clinton's real father is not Bill, but Webb Hubbell, but who cares? Yeah, that's just a conspiracy theory. There's no evidence to back that up. I looked this up specifically. No reason to believe that. So much creepy stuff being pushed by both sides, or did I miss a memo? Question mark? No, there isn't creepy stuff being pushed by both sides. There's no both sides about this. Like, this Chelsea Clinton's book thing's completely made up. What about Anthony Weiner? Oh no, we're getting into QAnon claims here. He got off lightly, and how is it that his wife, Huma Abedin, has a mother who writes about FGM, or I guess genital mutilation, of kids? That was noted in a film on YouTube by Anonymous. I can't find the video. Maybe you can. Maybe it was deleted. Who cares? Like, all of this is completely made up. All of it. Anthony Weiner and Huma Abedin are fundamental to the QAnon belief system because there's this whole claim about him. Well, he did actually do exactly what Ali Alexander did. He solicited pictures and sent pictures. I don't think Ali Alexander sent any, but Anthony Weiner sent pictures of waterfowl, if you will, to children. I mean, to, I think 14, 15-year-olds, maybe, children. So, yeah, not great. Should go to jail for that, and he did. Huma Abedin was his wife. So the claim is, by QAnon, when the police showed up to arrest him, they found his laptop there, and on the laptop, they found a video of Huma Abedin and Hillary Clinton extracting adrenochrome from some kids. It's completely made up. Adrenochrome isn't even a real drug. Adrenochrome is oxygenated adrenaline. It's what happens to adrenaline after it's already run its course through your body. Oxygen molecules attach to it, and it turns into adrenochrome, basically. And it's worthless at that point. It's been rendered inert by the oxygen attaching to it. If you want adrenaline, you don't have to extract it from children or whatever they believe happened with Huma Abedin, Anthony Weiner, and Hillary Clinton. All you have to do is get an EpiPen. There's adrenaline in that. Or hell, go skydiving. Adrenochrome is a fake drug from a movie called Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. Not real. But this guy believes it, seemingly. And he sent me an email, outraged, that I'm not talking about this, apparently. Have you seen the documentary Filthy Rich in regards to Epstein? No, I haven't. And I would never take a documentary recommendation from somebody who endorsed or even mentioned the stuff that this guy mentioned. If you haven't, well, you may want to, considering it proves the FBI knew about Egg Duck for about 15 years and did nothing. Okay, I don't know what he's talking about, Egg Duck or whatever, but Epstein? Is he talking about Epstein? Yeah, I don't know about anything being proven or whatever. That sounds like strong language. I don't think the FBI knew about this or that or whatever, and they just didn't pursue it. Who knows? But I'm not here to defend Epstein. I think he was a scumbag. I'm not sure why. I mean, this is a QAnon position. People on the left supposedly support Epstein. No, they don't. I don't support Epstein. I'm not here to defend him. I'm here to keep people grounded in reality. What about Kevin Spacey? Apparently, he acted up so badly he was kicked off Egg Duck Island. I assume he's talking about Epstein Island. He literally got away with actual abuse. Okay, I don't know how you know that or where you got this information or anything else about this, but I am extremely skeptical. Yeah, Kevin Spacey was credibly accused by adult women of being abusive to them, from my understanding. I don't know about his connections to Epstein. I'm super skeptical. I'm sorry, man. I'm just having trouble believing a word out of your mouth right now. I say got away, as in not in jail. Maybe his reputation is damaged. Bill Gates and a few others took that private jet. How can you trust Bill Gates then? His ex-wife doesn't. Okay, I don't know what his ex-wife thinks about it. Why do you say that? Are you just saying that because they got divorced? What's your basis for any of this? And for the record, again, I'm not here to defend Epstein. He's a scumbag. And he did own a private island where he did disgusting, horrendous stuff. But you know what? He's also extremely influential and rich. And that is enough, like a venture capitalist, that's enough reason for other rich people to talk to him. their associations didn't necessarily have to be nefarious. If they were nefarious meetings, if he was doing something bad, charge him. Put him in jail. I don't care who it was. It could be Bernie Sanders for all I care. I don't care. Whoever it is, put them in jail if they did something wrong, period. Goes for Donald Trump, too. Trump also, oh yeah, what about Donald Trump? He flew on Epstein's jet a bunch. Wasn't he, like, close friends with him? In fact, aren't there a bunch of court records about connections between them and everything? Trump also has connections to Epstein, I assume is what he means, which is why I'm surprised that in a country of 200 million, okay, this is a country of 325 million. I assume you're talking about the U.S., right? You guys can only seem to cough up these dumb people to run your entire country into the mud. Well, one thing we can agree on there, I suppose. Or even why don't you mention Charlie Sheen and how he was trying to appear that he was anti-Obama, but turns out he apparently abused Corey Haim, and how Dennis Richards caught him red-handed looking at bad images. Dude, all of this stuff is just straight up made up. There's like a grain of truth to some of this stuff, like the fact that Chelsea Clinton wrote a kid's book, and then everything after it is lies. Like, there's nothing suspicious or questionable about anything in any of, Hillary Clinton's books. This is just like a right-wing fever dream. Weinstein went, and one more thing. Why do you think I would defend Charlie Sheen? I don't care about Charlie Sheen. It could be Bernie Sanders, and I'd want him in jail if they did something wrong. I don't even like Charlie Sheen. I don't understand. Why is he putting me on the back foot in defense mode about Epstein? I don't like Epstein either. I just want you to be, like, grounded in reality here. You don't seem to be. Weinstein went to jail, but only after so many years of people in Hollywood keeping quiet. Agreed. Yes, absolutely. Weinstein was disgusting and terrible. Why are you writing an email to me about this like I'm responsible for not, like, calling it out or something? Like I agreed with Weinstein or some other thing. Like I'm defending Epstein and Charlie Sheen. Like, what? Pizzagate erupted a few years ago, and there was some truth to it. No, there wasn't. There's zero truth to Pizzagate, okay? Like, where's this guy's head? Really? BTW, have you actually read the HRC emails yourself? Hillary Clinton emails, right. Or the Jay Podesta emails? Yeah, so this is a reference to a big thing back in 2016 during the election. Donald Trump said, Russia, if you're listening, I'd really appreciate it if you released Hillary Clinton's emails. Because she hosted emails on her own private email server, basically. And within a short time, sure enough, Hillary Clinton's emails were leaked. And John Podesta, her campaign manager's emails, were leaked to the public. Through a spear phishing attack, they hacked into all their stuff and leaked everything. And they found references to them meeting at Comet Ping Pong and Pizza Parlor to discuss, I don't know, campaign-related things, and they talked about getting a slice of pizza, and QAnon took it and ran with it and claimed that it was, like, all kinds of crazy unhinged stuff, like, well, it wasn't QAnon yet. This is the precursor to QAnon. QAnon didn't exist yet, but the QAnon types latched onto it and ran with it and claimed all kinds of crazy stuff about what was in those emails. There are references to having lunch with Abramovic, who practices spirit cooking, right? Another QAnon conspiracy theory. Spirit cooking was like an art project that this person did like decades ago. She was just like drawing on a wall and being weird. There's no conspiracy to be had here. This is all QAnon fever dreams. Why any senator or politician who knows the U.S. is mainly Christian would even want to meet a witch, lol, but okay. And how did that turn out? ? I have no idea what you're talking about. I have lost the plot at this point. I'm sorry. Podesta emails reference some kind of pool time with kids as entertainment. Okay, well, there's a pool near where I live, and, I've taken my kid to the pool. What does that have to do with anything? Why is that a conspiracy? Can't people eat pizza and swim in a pool without it being some conspiracy? And some other thing with a napkin map and a whole bunch of creepy art. Yeah, there was weird, creepy art. That spear cooking thing. She was an artist, that Abramovic person or whatever. She's an artist, and she did edgy, weird art where she draws on the walls with blood and stuff. That's weird. That's not like I don't know what you want from me. Yes, it's weird. I'm not here to defend any of this stuff. It doesn't mean that there was like some conspiracy to like take advantage of children or something. The left has a problem, if I can even say left, made up sides crap. Also, you may want to either debate/talk to Ryan Dawson. He does research into both sides. There's no both sides about this, okay? I have no idea. Yeah, don't click any links. Don't go to any places. In fact, I'm going to censor some of this. Oh, I'm sorry. I meant to say, there is no both sides about this. The right now has gone completely off the rails. There is no equivalent to what the right is doing right now in the United States. No equivalent. None. Okay, they are unhinged from reality. I mean, just this email alone is evidence of that. You're talking about some dude going to the pool with his kids, and you're claiming it's some conspiracy to like abuse people. Like, what is wrong with you? And you're like trying to put me on the back foot to defend Jeffrey Epstein? Why? I don't like Epstein either. He's terrible. Like, this is insane. Do I expect you to even care about what I write? Nah, atheists don't like to venture into things that actually matter. I.e., Aaron Ra likes to ramble on about what he believes, but has little or no idea about Bohemian Grove or Julian Assange. As he stated in an email, I was surprised, but not really. Yeah, this is all just conspiracy garbage, like all of it. Aaron Ra has a specified interest in what he does and talks about. Why do you care if he likes talking about evolution and stuff and taxonomy? Why do you care? Why is that a big deal to you? People have areas of interest. Is that okay? Does everybody have to have your area of interest? Where you think that, like, Hillary Clinton is, like, ripping faces off of people and stuff, like is claimed in the Podesta emails? Or no, I'm sorry, that was the Anthony Weiner laptop, not the Podesta. My mistake. I got it mixed up there. You live in a fantasy land, bro. Please come back to reality with us. Please. Why don't you atheists work together to banish Scientology either? You guys claim that these other religions are bad, etc., but hardly ever take on the S. I assume that means Scientology. Scientology's bad. I talk about it. Not very often. Fair enough. Evangelical extremist Christianity is a far bigger problem to address in the United States right now. Scientology is sick and bad. Like, bad. But evangelicals are off the rails at the moment and need to be reined in through criticism desperately. A recent movement that has already done a lot of damage, but you seem to not give two craps? Okay. Well, I certainly do care about Scientology. I've talked about it plenty of times. It's bad, but your brand of extremism is really the problem right now. Why would they? They don't attack their own. Yes, I don't know. Debunk what you want. I don't care. Good day, sir. Is he saying I'm a Scientologist? Dude lives in a fantasy. This is absolutely unglued from reality. What do I do with this? Please, come back to reality with the rest of us. I am begging you. I don't know. I thought it was kind of an interesting email. It was fascinating to like look through and get an idea of where some people on the right's head is at. Like, this is obviously a QAnoner, right? And weirdly, it doesn't even seem to be from the U.S. How do you become a QAnoner and not from the U.S.? That just blows me away. Fascinating, though, to see somebody, like, give real conspiracies that they really do seem to believe. Just crazy. Let me know what you think about it in the comments. Philosopher King Gaming. Hi, found out Jesse Lee Peterson is a flat earther. Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely. I heard about that. There are actually a lot of flat earthers coming out of the woodwork. I don't appear to have anything on Jesse Lee Peterson being a flat earther. I mean, he is a flat earther, but in my little clip file that I have here, my clip folder, I don't have that. I have Jesse Lee Peterson as a white supremacist.
I used to think that when they used that word, white supremacy, it was a negative word. But now I realize what they're thinking is that, and it's true, by the way, that white men are smarter than them, superior to them. And instead of learning, oh, hey, how did you become so superior? They want to destroy it so that they won't be reminded how dumb they are. And so they're dumbing everybody and everything down rather than coming up to the level of white supremacy.
Yeah, so I don't have the clip where he comes out as a flat earther. I know that he is, but Yeah, I mean, that speaks for itself. I don't know what else to say about this. If you didn't know the guy before, you know him now, and I apologize. Here's another one. Again, not a flat earther one. I know he is a flat earther, but here's another clip I have of the guy.
And the country is getting worse because we've turned it over to the intellectuals. And they have no insight, no idea. It's just a mess. Everything they do is wrong because they cannot see what they're doing. This is why I'm telling you over and over and over again, save your money. It's the waste of time to go to a university. It's only build the ego. It makes you think.
Wow, dude. So, yeah, that's Jesse Lee Peterson. Honestly, not surprised in the least bit to find out that that guy is a flat earther. Like, not even a little bit. In fact, I would be surprised to find out that he wasn't a flat earther at this point. Like, that guy is terrible in every way and absolutely unhinged from reality. Seriously. Sagoma, I helped my sister come out to my conservative parents 10 minutes ago. Do you have any advice for her and I moving forward? Oh, that's not a fun situation. Good luck. Depends on what you were coming out about. Were you coming out as LGBT? Coming out as trans? I mean, they're under the same umbrella, but, you know, honestly, even coming out as gay is very different from coming out as trans. Did you come out as atheist? That's a concerning situation. It's really hard to deal with that stuff. I would say try to take it nice and slow and be real non-confrontational with your parents. Even if their position is detestable, and try to find something in common with them. Try to find common ground that you can stand on and lean on that. You know, I mean, don't sacrifice your principles, but find something that you can agree upon. So I guess you came out as bi. Well, yeah, again, I think I would just fall back on what I said before. Try to find common ground with them. Like, I don't know, just hear out their complaints, all of their feelings and ideas and what they're thinking about and everything else, and understand that, you know, I don't know your situation, but I'm just guessing, just making wild assumptions here, assuming that your parents have been conservative their whole lives, you know, came from a different time, maybe the 60s or the 70s or the 50s even, right? Understand that they came from a time when the F slur for gay people was super, super common, and hating gay people, hating bi people, whatever, is just the way you did it back then. Not that it makes it okay. It doesn't. It's not. But you got to understand that that's where their minds are starting from. So if you want to get them to a point where they can accept who you are, you got to start from there. You got to start from the understanding that in their mind, being gay is naturally this thing. And maybe, hopefully, depending on the type of people they are, maybe they'll be open to moving over. You just got to nudge them a little bit. Maybe they have found out that, you know, you're bi or gay or whatever, or I'm sorry, your sister is bi or gay or whatever. Maybe they find that out and they automatically are angry about this and don't like it and don't want anything to do with it, but are willing to be pushed over a little bit. Maybe they just opened up a little bit and are willing to be pushed, and all you got to do is be non-confrontational, give them the push. You know, find something, ask for all of their grievances and ask for all of their feelings completely non-judgmentally and in an honest way. And if they're honest people, if they're good people, just hear them out and find one of the grievances that you can honestly agree with. I mean, don't pretend to agree with one that you don't agree with. Find a grievance and agree with it. And try to dispel some of the others as you go along. Bi people are like promiscuous. Well, that's simply not true. I just, you know, I'm not, for example. I mean, I'm not bi. I was just giving you an example of the things that you could say. I mean, there are a billion different ways to go about this, but good luck. It cannot be fun. I hope things go okay for you.